Hi there, it's Dr. Joylyn Sparkles, and welcome to Fruity Tuesday Seeds for Thought. Today, I hate waiting. I hate being patient. These are two things that I am not particularly naturally gifted in. And it's interesting, last week I talked about stories. That's a story I've been telling myself about myself. And I have so many things to back that up, like I'm an Aries and blah, 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 okay? The truth is I'm human. And I want what I want, and I want it now. I think Queen even sang a song about that. See, we're not alone in this, and we're not inherently flawed. Where the problem comes in is, and I'm talking to me right now, when we lack self-love to be patient with ourselves and to actually acknowledge and honor the human part of us living in a physical reality where things take time. And no matter how intelligent or self-aware or anything that we are, we don't know everything that's going on, and we cannot predict or foresee the future. Now, one of the unkindnesses that we do to ourselves, and this is where my upbringing, I was brought up in intelligence was having all the answers before you got started, so that when you hit setbacks, you sort of were criticized. You know, a failure to plan is a plan to fail. And so setback and failure got paired in my mind. And needing to know everything before you went was the same as having a plan. Now tell me, that's not very adventurous, you know? But at the same time, those same people are saying, oh, that's just life, that's how it happens, and acting like they're patient. And it is so conflicting and so confusing to be brought up by other imperfect humans who are conflicting and confusing, and here's the other kicker, who didn't love themselves enough to give themselves time. There is a level of brutality comes with expecting yourself to know everything before you could possibly know. For telling yourself that you're failing when you're learning. For criticizing yourself and saying you're bad at things that you've never tried or explored. For giving up and abandoning yourself before you start. That is an unkindness that I think is unfortunately more common than not, but it is something that we can change. And so today's Fruity Tuesday is, instead of reacting to these things and telling yourself you should be more patient, you should do that, you shouldn't do that, you shouldn't have expected this, and having all these diagnoses of where your abusive streak came from and how you've abused yourself this way, is to just recognize you've been doing it. Hey, I haven't been very nice to myself. I've been expecting things that are actually humanly impossible. I'm expecting myself to know things that are unknowable until I've actually taken an action. Okay, now what? Now there's a chance for a new start. Now there's a chance to get curious about, if I didn't abandon myself, what could I do now? What would self-love look like? What if I gave this a little bit more time? Is it information or awareness that I'm needing? Because that's the other thing. Whenever we are making a choice and we say yes to something, we're saying no to something. Whenever we say no to something, we're saying yes to something. So being aware of what we're saying yes and no to, and knowing that when we're saying yes or no, we think we know exactly what we're saying yes and no to, but we're generally saying yes and no to an experience that's going to lead us into becoming, into further awareness. And so it's getting clear on, what am I curious about knowing about myself? In what direction would I like to grow? And if we can make that the place that we're making decisions by, and not having hard and fast timelines, and to do our best to stop telling ourselves that we should have figured this out already, that we should already know it before we start, that we're not doing well enough, or we're failing, or some other fatalistic conclusionary term that we're using for not knowing everything in advance, the more that we can be aware that we have done that, we actually, just by awareness, are changing and allowing something else to happen. So that is my juicy seed for thought this Tuesday, and my hope and gift for you is that we can learn how to love ourselves, to be patient and kind with ourselves, and not be so demanding and brutally expectant assholes like we have been. That maybe is what we saw, but it doesn't even matter. We can do something different once we recognize what we've been doing and change our own operating. So good luck. Definitely ask questions because I'm here for you, and we'll be dropping more and more seeds for thought to get you to just think of things differently and offer new tools and insights so that we can actually open up new possibilities for ways of being and learning what self-love actually is and how to actually do that for ourselves. All right, I love you, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Mwah.